Hello guys, this is Movie Lover and welcome to this Movie Lover world. Today I will explain the romantic drama film from title Lolita. Before starting the film, make sure to subscribe and like this video. This movie is based on a true story. The movie begins with a man named Humbert. He is driving, and there are some bloodstains on his face. He is not in good shape. After a moment he says, "Lolita was my love, Lolita was my life," and the scene shifts to where we see Humbert's childhood. He says that when he was years old he fell in love with a girl named Animal. After some time Humbert and Animal were together and had a great time. One day Annabelle died due to a disease. Humbert was deeply affected by her death and he couldn't forget her. The story comes back to present time. Humbert narrates that he never fall in love again. Later we see Humbert in a car. He became an English professor. He is moving to a new town because he has got a new teaching job. There he will be living in his uncle's house. Upon reaching the house, Humbert is informed that there was a fire in his uncle's house. However, his uncle suggested to him that you stay in my friend's house. Humbert agreed and they went there. Humbert meets a woman named Hayes. She is the owner of this house. Her husband is dead and she lives there with her years-old daughter. Hayes shows him the house. We can clearly see she is attracted to Humbert. Hayes shows Humbert the room where he will be staying. However, he is not happy with the room because it's dirty. Humbert decides that he will not live here. When he is leaving, suddenly he sees Hayes' daughter Lolita. She is reading a book in the garden. She is completely wet with a water spray. Humbert is staring at her continuously because she looks like Annabelle. At that moment he falls in love with Lolita because she reminds him of Annabelle. After a moment Lolita looked back at him. Humbert decides to stay there. Later he started living with him and start writing his diary. Meanwhile he stalks Lolita whenever he gets a chance. On the other hand, Lolita started liking Humbert. She comes to his room and flirts with him every day. They both enjoy each other's company. Hayes is also attracted to Humbert. She wants to spend some time with him. The next day Hayes took Humbert to a lake for some quality time. She tells him that Lolita is going to summer camp and from there she will go to boarding school. Humbert feels shocked and sad because he is living there just for Lolita. He is not interested in his. Later we see Lolita when she finds that she will be going to boarding school from summer camp. She feels angry and tells her mom not to send her there. However, her mom convinced her to go to the boarding school. The next morning we see Lolita is sitting in a car. She is leaving for summer camp. Humbert is sleeping. He hears some noise and comes to the window. He sees Lolita sitting in a car and Lolita looks back at him. They stare at each other for a while. Suddenly, Lolita jumped out of the car and went inside the house. Humbert is sitting in his room calmly waiting for her. Lolita comes into his room. She hugs him tight and then starts kissing him and runs away. Humbert is shocked. He thinks of Lolita continuously. He can't forget the kiss. Later we see Umberto receive a letter from his. She is asking Humbert for a marriage. Humbert agrees to marry her because this is the only way to be close to Lolita. They get married. However, Humbert doesn't want to make love with Hayes, which is why he gives her sleeping pills and tea, and that's why she sleeps early every day. Meanwhile, Humbert is desperately waiting for Lolita to come back. Hayes doesn't know anything about Humbert and Lolita. One day when Hayes is alone at home while cleaning, she reads the diary. Humbert writes everything about his life in that diary. Hayes finds out about Humbert's feelings for Lolita. She also knows that Humbert doesn't love her. Humbert got married to his so he could be with Lolita. She starts crying. Later when Humbert comes home, Hayes tells him, "You are a disgusting person." She breaks her relationship with him and comes out of the house. After some time, Baez is hit by a car while crossing the road. Humbert goes out to check. He sees that Hayes is dead. Meanwhile, a little girl gives him some letters. Hayes was going to send them to Lolita. Humbert opens the letters and finds out that Hayes was going to tell everything to the leader. He burns those letters. He is feeling a little sad about his wife's death. However, he is relieved that his path is clear now. No one can take Lolita away. Later Humbert goes to Lolita's summer camp. He picks her and they are on the way back home. Lolita calls Humbert to dad. She asks him about her mother. Humbert replies that your mother is not feeling well and she is in the hospital. We will go to meet her tomorrow and for the night we will stay in a hotel. While talking, suddenly Lolita asks Humbert, "You don't love me because you haven't kissed Yet Humbert stops the car and they start kissing. Later, they reach a hotel where Lolita meets a man named Claire. She talked to him. Claire also talks to Humbert, but he doesn't know his name. Humbert assumes that he is a police detective following him to investigate his wife's death. Later at night, when Lolita and Humbert are alone in the room, Humbert tries to touch Lolita and she allows him. They make love and spend some intimate time. The following day, when they are on the way home, when they stop at a gas station, Lolita asks Humbert for the telephone number of that hospital where her mom is admitted. Humbert tells her the truth, that your mother is dead in an accident. She feels sad and starts crying. Later at night, Lolita cries like a baby in the room and Humbert consoles her. The following morning, they decide to take a road trip around the country. They start their road trip. They stay in many different hotels, making love and living like a couple. Meanwhile, Humbert knows that what he is doing is wrong, and if anyone catches him, he will face a lot of problems. However, he doesn't care because he is in love with Lolita. Lolita still misses her mother and cries at night. Umbra comforts her each time she feels sad. After some days, Humbert is back on his job and Lolita is back to her school. They live in a house together and make love every night. One day, Humbert goes to watch Lolita's show where she is performing. Humbert sees Claire and Lolita tells him that he wrote this show. Claire is the same man from that hotel. Later, we see Lolita is not interested in studies and wants to join the theater. She convinces Humbert and asks him for some money. However, Humbert is not happy with the idea. He is scared that someday Lolita might leave him. Later, Humbert talked to Lolita about this and Lolita didn't like it. They start fighting and Lolita leaves the house on her bicycle. Humbert follows her to a store where he sees her bike. When Humbert reaches there, Lolita is talking on the phone with someone. However, when she sees Humbert outside, she cuts the call. It seems like she is hiding something. Humbert sits her down and apologizes for everything. Lolita agrees to go with him. However, she wants to go on a road trip with Humbert, and she will choose the location Humbert agrees. The next morning, they start their trip. Suddenly, while driving, Humbert noticed a car following him. He asks Lolita to write down the number of that car and keep it safe. Later, they stop at a gas station. Humbert gets inside the store. When he looks outside, he sees Lolita talking to a man. He immediately comes out. However, the man is gone. He asks Lolita about the man. She replies that he was just a lost stranger asking for an address. Humbert is convinced that the stranger is the same man from the hotel. Later, we see Humbert driving and notice that a car is still following them. Later, they reach a hotel. Humbert goes outside to take something from the store, leaving Lolita alone. When Humbert comes back, he sees Lolita as nervous and not behaving normally. Her feet are dirty with mud. Humbert knows that she went outside. Humbert asks her, "Where did you go?" To which she replies, "That I was looking for you." However, Humbert doesn't believe her and forces her to tell me the truth where she went. Lolita doesn't say anything. Humbert takes her and starts driving. However, Lolita is not feeling well. Later, Humbert takes her to a hospital. Lolita is admitted to the hospital and the doctor tells him that she will have to spend the night here. Humbert leaves her there and go to a hotel. The following morning, he called the hospital and asked about Lolita. The nurse informed him that Lolita was feeling good and her uncle discharged her from the hospital and took her with him. Humbert is shocked to hear this. He rushes to the hospital and starts arguing with the doctors. However, when he sees police outside, he apologizes and leaves the hospital. Humbert started searching for Lolita. He looked in all the hotels where they stayed. He finds out that the mysterious man was following him everywhere he stayed in. All the hotels where Humbert in the lead estate, the mysterious man was using a fake name in the hotel. However, Humbert recognized his handwriting, which is the same in every hotel. The scene shifts and we see Humbert. After 3 years, he receives a letter from Lolita. She tells him that she is married and happy with her husband and she needs some money because she is pregnant. Humbert had been waiting for this day for 3 years. He took his gun with him to kill Lolita's husband to take his revenge for taking Lolita away from him. Later, when Humbert reaches her house, Lolita opens the door. They met. After 3 years, Humbert looks for her husband. He thinks the mysterious man from the hotel is her husband. Lolita tells him everything and reveals the man Humbert saw the gas station was Claire. He used to meet Lolita. She also revealed that she was in love with Claire after the hospital. Claire took her to his home. However, he was not interested in making love with Lolita. He was a poor movie producer. He wanted Lolita to make porn films for him. Lolita rejected his offer because she wanted to make love with Claire, not another man. That's why he kicked her out. Lolita wanted to stay away from Humbert. That's why she got married. Humbert tells her to come back with him. However, she refuses to go with him. Humbert gives her some money and apologizes for everything he has done to her. Lolita calls him dad and Humbert leaves. He then went to Claire's house. Humbert asked Claire about Lolita too, which she replied that I don't remember anything. I have done this to many girls. Humbert gets angry and shoots him. Claire dies right there. Later we see Humbert in a car driving, and this is the same scene that we saw at the start of the movie. Police arrest him for the murder of Claire and he is sent to prison. Later he died in prison after 1 year due to a disease. Lolita also died after 1 month in delivering her baby. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching the video. Like and subscribe for more. See you next time. Take care. Movie Lover will meet you again with new story. Till take care.